By the grace of Allah, by the grace of Allah, even the darkest night will end, and the sun will rise and shine, and the sun will rise and shine. By the grace of Allah.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, welcome back to our morning show, Rise and Shine. And Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, on Rise and Shine, each and every single morning, we begin by listening to the beautiful verses of the Holy Quran. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد صدق الله العظيم.
صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله تعالى على محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وسلم. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, let's finally move on to the Naat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله تعالى على محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وسلم.
صلي على نبينا صلي على نبينا صلي على محمد صلي على كريمنا صلي على كريمنا صلي على محمد نگاہ لطف کے امیدوار ہم بھی ہیں لیے ہوئے یہ دل بے قرار ہم بھی ہیں لیے ہوئے یہ دل بے قرار ہم بھی ہیں ہمارے دست تمنا کی لاج بھی رکھنا ہمارے دست تمنا کی لاج بھی رکھنا تیرے فقیروں میں ہے شہر یار ہم بھی ہیں تیرے فقیر شہر یار ہم بھی ہیں تمہاری نگاہ کرم میں سب کچھ ہے تمہاری نگاہ کرم میں سب کچھ ہے پڑے ہوئے تو سرے رہے گزار ہم بھی ہیں پڑے ہوئے تو سرے رہا گزار ہم بھی ہیں جو سر پہ رکھے کو مل جائے لعل پاک کے حضور جو سر پہ رکھے کو مل جائے لعل پاک کے حضور تو پھر کہے کہ ہاں تاجدار ہم بھی ہیں تو پھر کہے کہ ہاں تاجدار ہم بھی ہیں یہ کس شہر والا کا صدقہ بٹتا ہے یہ کس شہر والا کا صدقہ بٹتا ہے کہ خسرووں میں پڑی ہے پکار ہم بھی ہیں لیے ہوئے یہ دل بے قرار ہم بھی حسن کی سخاوت کی دھوم عالم میں حسن کی سخاوت کی دھوم تم بھی ہو ایک ریزہ خوار ہم بھی ہیں انہی کے تم بھی ہو ایک ریزہ خوار ہم
سبحان اللہ صلو علی الحبیب صلی اللہ تعالی علی محمد sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, alhamdulillah azza wa jal. We continue, we are on Rise and Shine. You are watching Rise and Shine as each and every single morning. Now, today's topic, my dear viewers, inshallah azza wa jal, today I shall be speaking about cruelty. Cruelty has many forms, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. There's from physical, again, is harming another another Muslim brother, my dear viewers. But cruelty is on a harsher level. Bullying, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, being cruel, knife crime, which is really on the rise. And sadly, this is not just something which is amongst the elders, but no, also amongst the youngsters. Yes, also amongst, people who are in school, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. So we have knife crime from various ages, and we have knife crime all over the world, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. Knife crime is one example, by the way. And through knife crime, there's just stabbing a person, there's also killing another person, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. Or it could be verbal bullying, it could be psychologically bullying people at school, in class, as a joke, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. So this is today's topic. Inshallah, today we shall be speaking about cruelty, but we shall also hear a lesson of history. Yes, what was the first act of cruelty? The first act of cruelty, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, was murder itself. This was something which was the first thing, and the reason I am speaking about this is because my dear viewers of Madani Channel, it's on the rise. Knife crime is on the rise. Cruelty is widespread altogether. But then, what is the cause for this? Also, this is something we need to think about. What is the cause for this? And inshallah, that's what we shall be hearing about. Firstly, my dear viewers, inshallah, we shall move to our daily reminder, and then inshallah, we shall continue. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam.
By the grace of Allah, by the grace of Allah.
My sweet Islamic brothers and viewers of Madani Channel, parents should give their children a good upbringing. They should give them the mindset of having love for each other, protecting life, possessions of each other, and having respect for each other from their childhood. It is imperative that we do this from childbirth, because what happens is when you sow a seed into the earth, the seed, you give it water, it starts to grow, it grows into a beautiful flower. Then you give it more water, you put it into the sunlight, so it creates photosynthesis. Then what happens is all of a sudden that flower turns into a bush, then turns into a tree. And when it turns into a tree, because it's adulthood, it bears fruits for you to eat. My sweet Islamic brothers, just like the flower, the seed, the bush and the tree, Insan, children are exactly the same. When they are born, we need to start with the tarbiyah straight away. We need to make sure that they have halal sustenance. We need to make sure that we talk to them with love and respect. We need to make sure that they talk to others with love and respect. We need to make sure that they love their elder brothers, their younger brothers, and they love their parents. This is something that we have to do. We have to give that tarbiyah to that child. But if we are going to be thinking we will do this when they're older, then I'm sorry, my sweet Islamic brothers, it will be too late. My sweet Islamic brothers, one way of doing this is getting your children involved with the Madani environment of Dawat Islami. Insha'Allah Azza wa Jal, when they attend the Madrasatul Madina, what will happen is they will get the tarbiyah of working or talking and respecting the elders, respecting the youngsters, saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. They will learn the Shajara Sharif, they will learn Quranic ayahs, they will learn the Madani Qaida with full tajweed. My sweet Islamic brothers, when they go home, they will kiss their parents on the forehead and they will kiss their father on the hands. What more do you need? This is what we are looking for to help our children to become better mu'min. And inshallah Azza wa Jal, after they are finished Madrasatul Madina and they're older, inshallah Azza wa Jal, they will say to you that I want to become an alim, hafiz, mufti. This is what they're going to say. And what more do you need in your life where you have a child who becomes an alim? Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam.
By the grace of Allah, by the grace of Allah.
Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. MashaAllah, that was our daily reminder, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. We've had the reminder before even beginning our topic today. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, the first murder, the first killing, possibly the first act of cruelty altogether, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, was, in a way, you can say, in a way, was that between the children of Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. Two famous children, one known as Habil, the second known as Qabil. Habil and Qabil, they were brothers. But Hazrat Hawa, who is the mother, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, the beloved wife of Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, was created from Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, the first woman, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. Hazrat Hawa radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she would have children. Now, she would have children regularly, but whenever she would have children, she would always have two. She would always have, as we call them, twins, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. And each and every single time there would be a boy and there would be a girl. So the boy and a girl who are born together, they will not marry each other, but they will marry a boy and a girl who are born separately or at another time, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. This is the process and this is the method of how it would take place. Now, so there was Habil and there was Qabil. Now, what happened is that Qabil, when they grew up, when the time came for them to marry, then Qabil did not wish to marry Lidha, but rather he wished to marry Aklima. He wished to marry the other girl. We'll keep it simple. There was Habil, there was Qabil, and there were two girls with them, born with them. Habil was to marry the fraternal twin of Qabil, and Qabil was to marry the twin of Habil. But Qabil was not attracted to the twin of Habil. He did not wish to marry her. And he wished to marry that girl who was his own twin. This is who he wished to marry. And this was prohibited, this was not permissible, this was not allowed. But then what did he do? He protested and said, no, I wish to marry my twin. I wish to marry this girl. I do not wish to marry that one. And Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam told him that, no, you have to marry this one, you cannot marry this one, my dear viewers. So what happened was then, because he insisted, then Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam said, okay, what to do is both of you present a sacrifice. Both of you present a sacrifice, and whosever sacrifice is accepted, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, whosever is accepted, then their sacrifice, or that person whose sacrifice is accepted, then they will be allowed to marry the girl they wish to marry. Now, in that day and age, the method of the acceptance of a sacrifice was that there would be a flame coming from the skies. A flame would come from the sky and it would consume. The flame would completely encapsulate and consume the animal which is presented for sacrifice, the one which is accepted. So this was a sign that your sacrifice has been accepted. This is how it would work. So Hazrat Habil, he presented his sheep, animal, whatever it may have been, and Qabil also presented his. When the time came for one or the other to be accepted, then it was accepted. With the one which was accepted was that of Habil. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, the one of Habil, this one was accepted. The one of Qabil, it was left as it was, which shows that it was not accepted. So this was the first thing which really affected him, and it brought about jealousy in his hearts. And again, one of the main reasons, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, for harm, for cruelty is jealousy itself. Even the shaitan, for everything he does, it was initially, it all began with jealousy, it began with pride, with arrogance, what he possessed for Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. And the scholars say that if you do possess any sort of jealousy in you, for anybody, then the method of ridding of this jealousy is to pray for that person. To pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases him in the barakah. Inshallah azza. This is the method of refraining from jealousy. Now, Habil and Qabil. Habil's sacrificial animal was accepted. Qabil's was not accepted. Then what happened? Qabil, again, he was arrogant, he remained on his position that he wishes to marry that girl, not the one which he or who he was told to marry. So Habil was given right to marry that person, but he says, no, I wish to marry that woman. I wish to marry that girl. So what happened is Qabil said to Habil, I shall kill you. Habil said, if you harm me, then I will not react, I will not reciprocate, I will not react. But I shall not do anything because I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you do kill me, then this is against the commandment of your Lord, it is against the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and surely you shall be punished for this. Nevertheless, Qabil, who was a slave to his desires, he was a slave to his desires, he neglected the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he killed his own brother. When he killed his own brother, my dear viewers, this had such an effect. They said there was an earthquake which lasted for 7 or so days. That Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, their father, he never smiled for 100 years. For 100 years he did not smile. And he exiled Qabil. He exiled Qabil from his court, you can say. And this was the first murder. Now, when he had murdered his brother, then Qabil, he wondered, what is it you do with the body? How is it that we, in a way dispose of the body? What do we do with the body? Because there was no other killing, it was the first ever one. So whenever somebody passes away, we know that we bury them. Why? Because somebody before us, they buried them. And before them, they buried them due to, their elders burying people. And this is how it continued. But Qabil did not know what to do with the body once the body is dead, once the person has died. So he was wondering, what is it we do? And it said that he sees 2 crows fighting with each other. One crow kills the other crow, and then digs, you could say, a hole in the ground, and that crow was placed underground, my dear viewers, and then covered. So from this he learned that when a person is dead, this is what we can do. We can dig a hole and then place him in the ground and cover them, my dear viewers. This was the story of the first killing. It was the story of the first murder. When did this take place? It took place at the beginning of the generations, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. The children of Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam himself were the ones to whom this happened and who did this. And some people always mix up, and a lot of people say to me, which one was the killer? Who killed who? There was Habil and there was Qabil. You know, which one's the killer? And an easy way to remember this is that Qabil begins with you could say a K in English, and K also stands for killer, or is the first letter for killer. This is one way I remember it. Or also in Arabic for Qatil, the killer means Qatil, Madani viewers of Madani Channel. This is how you can remember that Qabil killed Habil. Now every time there's a murder, every single time there's a murder, because this person was the first one to commit that sin, then every time Qabil also gains a punishment for that sin, Madani viewers of Madani Channel. So subhanallah, lesson of history, the first murder which took place, it took place between the children of Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. One brother killed another brother. What was the reason? The reason was due to his desire, because he wished to marry somebody, Madani viewers of Madani Channel, and he did not accept anybody else to marry that girl. Let's, Madani viewers of Madani Channel, move to our next segment of the day, which is the daily hadith sharif. Sallu ala al-habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam.
By the grace of Allah, by the grace of Allah.
Sallu ala al-habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Dear viewers of Rise and Shine, inshallah azza wa jal, in today's daily hadith, we will hear about a very important element of our lives. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, Ya'ti ala nasi zamanun. A time will come upon the people, La yubali al-mar'u ma akhaza minhu. When one will not care where he attains his wealth from, whether he attains it through permissible means or impermissible means, halal or haram. No doubt, one of the obligation upon a Muslim is that he earns for himself and his family a pure and halal sustenance. On one occasion, Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam did not sleep all night. So al-Mu'mineen, Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu ta'ala anha asked, O Messenger of Allah, what has caused you to stay awake all night? The best of mankind sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam replied that I found a date last night and I ate it. Then I remembered that we had in our house some dates that were meant for charity. So I feared that the date I ate was from the dates that were to be given to charity. Subhanallah, what does this go to show? Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam ate one date, forgetting that he had some dates in his house that were meant for charity. And this caused them to have a sleepless night, just out of fear that this date may have been from the dates of the charity. So this accidental morsel caused our beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam so much unrest and so much discomfort. In reality, this serves as a lesson for us. This is a teaching within this. There is a teaching for us, those of us who may be earning such a living that comes from a means of haram, and yet we enjoy a deep sleep at night. And like this, we have countless accounts of various Sahaba Kiram and Awliya who too are great role models, even in just safeguarding themselves from doubtful food and sustenance. Halal sustenance is the means of attaining the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also His Azza wa Jal's protection. It's the mean of getting all our lawful du'as answered, and also and truly a means of being honored on the Day of Judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the pursuit of seeking halal sustenance easy upon all of us. Ameen bijahi nabil ameen. Sallu ala al-habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam.
By the grace of Allah, by the grace of Allah.
Sallu ala al-habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, you are watching Rise and Shine. Now, the topic of the day is cruelty. We've heard about the first murder which took place. The first murder between Qabil, who killed Habil. Remember, to harm another Islamic brother, to harm another Muslim, is worse, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, it has been said that when you do, killing itself is a reason for a person is deserving to be thrown into the fire of hell. This person will be punished. But what is the reason for this cruelty, my dear viewers of Madani Channel? Many different reasons I mentioned, but one is the illnesses of the heart. Illnesses of the heart, these are the fundamental ones. Things like jealousy, things like hatred, things like enmity, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. These are reasons for why we harm others. Now, majority of the time, people harm others due to what, as we mentioned, due to being jealous. This person is doing better than me. So for this reason, I am jealous, I dislike him, so then we say things. We be cruel to that person. The person might not have done anything wrong, we may have beaten him up. Or due to pride, my dear viewers, because I am stronger than another person, because I have the ability to do so, for this reason I will harm him. No. Sometimes people do it for a laugh, for humor. My dear viewers, when you mock another person and you think it's, we're doing it as a joke, you are harming that person. And this is ultimately also harming you. Now, alhamdulillah, Azza wa Jal, we are joined by our respected Wasim Bhai, mashallah, he's coming to save the day, inshallah, Azza wa Jal. Wasim Bhai, I hope you can hear me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wasim, I hope you are well and in the best of health. Now, I've been waiting for quite some time to take a sip of my tea. Mashallah, you've given me the opportunity.
Allah Almighty cure you, give you shifa and bless you in both worlds. Mashallah, I'm sure the viewers of Madani Channel would be benefiting from you. And
I hope so, Wasim Bhai, because I've confused today. Honestly, I'm feeling confused also. I think of one thing, I'm saying something else, subhanallah.
Allah Akbar. May Allah Almighty bless you, give you shifa. In terms of, mashallah, the topic you've chosen today, cruelty. Mashallah, the beautiful commandments that we've been blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we come to know that how fortunate we are that we've been given these divine laws. And when we look at the cruelty, the topic you've chosen today, unfortunately, in our society is becoming quite common nowadays. And when we look at the reasons for it, it perhaps seems like A, people don't really understand what cruelty is, and B, they don't sort of understand what the consequences of it are, what they, ma'adallah, would be facing in the hereafter for cruelty. Now, we come to know of various such narrations where we've been told, we've been warned severely regarding the consequences of cruelty. For example, in one narration, the summary in which is that on the day of judgment, there will be many people who will be pleading in the court of Allah Almighty and who will be talking against us that we did not fulfill their rights. And ultimately what will happen is that if we have pious deeds in our book of deeds, etc., those pious deeds, those virtuous deeds will be given to them. And at the end of the day, when all those virtues are finished and their rights still will not be fulfilled, then what will happen is their sins will start getting transferred into our book of deeds, to the extent that the cruel people, oppressors, they will be thrown in the hellfire. So there are various other narrations as well where we come to know that an oppressor, a cruel person, is not, he doesn't gain anything out of it apart from facing a loss in this world as well as in the hereafter. And another thing, Shahbaz, which often happens is that we fail to understand what cruelty actually is. we have a specific mindset and we think that, cruelty, being oppressive is only in one way or the other. For example, ma'adallah, being rude, beating someone, so on and so forth. But not fulfilling rights of other people or unjustly taking up someone else's possessions, these elements also come within cruelty. Now, Imam Ahl-Sunnat, Imam Ahmad Raza Khan rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, beautifully mentions that a person who would rightfully, unjustly take only 3 paisas, we can take example of 3 pennies of someone, on the day of judgment, he will have to give 700 salahs as an expiation for it, which he would have offered with Jama'at. So we can imagine that it's not only 700 salahs, but those salahs that he would have offered with Jama'at. So we can imagine that, at the end of the day, having abused someone's rights, what at the end of the day we will be facing. So we need to get our mindset clear in regards to what cruelty actually means. Now, what makes a person go to the extent of being cruel? This is again the fire of jealousy, in a way you can say, or these kind of spiritual diseases when someone has in his heart that he goes to any extent, even to the extent of being cruel. For example, now I want something from you or from another person, or at any cost. Either he's very successful or even someone who's very poor. Now, because I would be arrogant, I would be jealous, I could be, facing other kind of spiritual diseases. These are the elements that would make a person be cruel. And arrogance, meaning considering oneself to be superior than the other person and other person to be inferior. This is a very big element that leads a person towards cruelty, and he ends up being cruel to the other person, being oppressive to him, and abusing his rights. So unfortunately, these elements are very common in our society, and these are those factors that serve as a root factors, you can say, that lead a person towards cruelty. So if we cleanse our hearts, if we clean our hearts from these spiritual diseases, if we get rid of arrogance, jealousy, all these kind of elements, then it could serve as a great deal. It could help us to a great extent to refrain from cruelty. But unfortunately, these are very big factors that have been embedded in our hearts, in our society nowadays, that lead people towards cruelty. And getting a mindset clear in regards to what cruelty actually means, only then we'll be able to understand that how this actually does take place in our society. I've mentioned earlier that cruelty doesn't only mean that to stand up and start beating someone, but cruelty also means to abuse others' rights and so on and so forth. There's a beautiful booklet of Amir Ahl-Sunnat titled Zulm Ka Anjam, Consequences of Cruelty. It beautifully explains what cruelty is, what is the aftermath of it, what are the consequences of it. There are beautiful ahadith, the verses of Holy Quran mentioned in it regarding cruelty. If the viewers of Madani Channel, they can download this booklet from the website of Dawat Islami, it would give them a great insight into cruelty, as obviously the time doesn't allow us to keep talking about it. But this would be a beautiful opportunity for the viewers of Madani Channel to download this booklet, read about it, and inshallah to a great extent, they will be cured from cruelty.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly bless you. Now, Wasima, another thing, one of the main problems, I do apologize, I'm not sure if you did touch upon it, but for example, games and movies and these sort of things nowadays, there's a lot of fighting. People enjoy they love the fighting games, and there's things like shooting, there's stabbing, and there've been cases of such, because our children, we think, at least they're staying in and it's fine, but they're staying in and what they're doing is mentally affecting them. It's said that people, and there have been cases where some people have killed their own parents. And what does it take to get to this level is, psychologically that person is being affected. And what was the reason? That person, this is what it stated, this was mentioned in an article, that the reason why this kid did this was because of the games he was playing. I'm not saying that everybody who plays games are going to become like this. No, my dear viewers, but the possibility is there. What happens is you become desensitized. When a person, it becomes normal to him when he regularly sees this, when he regularly, he's doing it in a game and he enjoys it, then this desensitizes the person, meaning something which would normally shock and amaze him would be like, wow, no, becomes normal for him. But dear viewers of Madani Channel, specific games, things and movies, generally you should remain away from, my dear viewers. But please do be careful. You need to think, what is it my children are playing? When they're on their PlayStations or whatever it is they are on nowadays, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, what games are they playing? What movies are they watching? We need to keep a track of this. Because sometimes your children can be your Jannah, sometimes they could be your hell. Wasim, we are going to, inshallah, end it and leave it here for today. Time, as usual, is getting the better of us, my dear viewers of Madani Channel. That's all for now. Continue to recite Durood Sharif. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam.
By the grace of Allah, by the grace of Allah, even the darkest night will end, and the sun will rise and shine, and the sun will